thanks all to you guys for being here today. It's a pretty big day, and I'm really thankful to see so many familiar faces of people who have been in my life and in my speed skating career for so long. I actually was here on Saturday. I put my skates on for the first time since November 21st when I crashed and hurt myself last year. And for a tiny nanosecond, as I put my feet into my boots and they felt like slippers, and I stepped onto the ice, and it was like I'd never been off the ice. I had this thought, oh my goodness, I need to cancel this press conference. I had cold feet for about 1/10 of a second, but not about retiring. I never thought I'd have to have a press conference. I really never did think I would do this, but it turns out there's some pretty good reasons to be clear about why I would like to make this announcement, and to thank so many of you for being a part of my career. I'd like to apologize as well to some of the media who have made requests in the last few weeks as I've politely blown you off. I'm really sorry that I did that. Just wasn't quite ready to talk about this publicly, but I'd like to thank everyone so much for being here. It's obviously no surprise that we're here today to talk about my career. The time has come for me to retire from competitive speed skating. Today is about the celebration of a long and amazing career for me, and also a time to look forward to pursuing new challenges. I plan to continue with public speaking, volunteering with charities, writing, and some more environmental advocacy work. When I think back about my career over the last 22 years, I think of a few things that stand out. Most importantly, I think I had a lot of hard work in my body. I started this sport as a young, skinny, awkward kid without a lot of obvious talent, but the one thing I did have was the ability to work really hard. And I think that's one thing that characterizes my career over the last 23 years is simply how hard I was able to work and how hard I wanted to work. I had an unbelievable amount of patience as an athlete. It took me so long to get from where I started to where I ended up. I actually remember listening to the commentator on TV after the first Olympic medal, or first World Cup medal I ever won, which is in 2004 in Norway. And we were watching it on TV after the fact. And this is 7 years after I started World Cups. And he said, "You have to wonder if Kristina ever thought this moment would happen." I was kind of offended, actually. But I also think about so many outstanding moments that I had in my career. Without a doubt, one of the biggest highlights for me was the 2008 World Single Distance Championships in Nagano, Japan. I skated in 5 events there. I won my first world championship, and I won a medal in every single race that I competed in. That is a feat that has yet to be repeated and has never been done before, so my one little claim to fame on that part. I think about the 4 Olympic medals that I won, the World Single Distance Championships in 2009, where I won the 1500, although I got disqualified because I kicked the puck. That was a highlight. Not the disqualification, but the winning the race. I finished with 3 World Cup titles in the 1500 meter and so many other amazing races. I also think about the bad races that I had, and there were probably as many or more bad races than there were good races, but you can't expect every race to be awesome. So I even think back to the very first race that I won, which I can't remember the year, it was either 1990 or 1991, the North American Age Class Championships in Lake Placid, New York. And I think this is actually the first race I ever won. And that was the first time I realized that I even wanted to win or could win or thought I had the potential to win. And ultimately that's what sport is about. It's about winning. I always wanted to win, but over the last few years in particular, I found myself gravitating towards a different philosophy where winning a race or being at the top of the podium wasn't something that I focused on or that I sought out, but instead looked for a feeling that I could get in my races, and that was ultimately what motivated me all these years, was simply trying to be the best possible skater, and that feeling that I had in those races where I just nailed it was really addicting. Because of that, it never really occurred to me that I wouldn't want to do this anymore, but the fact is that little urge to win that's been there for so long has just slowly faded away in the last year, and it doesn't mean I don't love speed skating anymore. I will love the sport until the day that I die, and I think I'll probably do it until the day that I die, but simply not at the highest level. It was a hard truth for me to accept that this had faded away. But ultimately, my heart is full. There's nothing else I feel like I want to accomplish in this sport. Looking back at my career, I've done so many things that I never thought I would do. And even though I love everything about speed skating, everything about being an athlete, it's simply time to walk away. I think the reason this decision was so hard for me is because I know that I could go back. I have no doubt that if I wanted to, I could put in the hard work and the training, and I could be back at the level that I once was. But ultimately, things have changed, and I guess I don't feel that is as important to me as it once was. I would also like to be explicitly clear that this decision has nothing to do with the concussion injury that I sustained in November last year. If anything, that injury afforded me the time away from the sport I needed to figure this out. If anything, it served as a catalyst to help make the decision as opposed to the reason. So certainly it's not the best way to end when I think about the last race I ever had being the one where I fell and got a concussion. But we don't always choose the way we get to end things. So, and don't they say you're supposed to go out with a bang? I don't know, I took it too literally, I guess. I hope you can have a little patience as I just go through some thank yous. I never would have gotten to this point without the help of so many wonderful and amazing people and organizations. And I'll just read briefly through a quick list of people and just say thank you, of course, to Speed Skating Canada. Without you, I mean, we wouldn't have the forum to do the sport that we love. And so I'm appreciative of all the support I've had from you guys over the years. The Canadian Olympic Committee, On the Podium, Sport Canada, Wing Sport Canada. Thanks for everything that you do to promote sport, promote the Olympic movement. I'd like to make a particular thank you to the Canadian Sports Centre Calgary. You guys have provided so much incredible and valuable support to me over the years, in particular in the last year as I recovered from this concussion. Even though at the end of my career, you were there with every possible support that I needed with medical attention, and that was really, really meaningful to me. Thanks to the University of Calgary, and in particular the Sports Medicine Clinic and the Human Performance Lab, Ontario Quest for Gold Lottery Fund, the CAN Fund, Ontario Speed Skating Association, the Pacer Speed Skating Club of Ottawa, and of course my friends at Agenda Sport Marketing for everything that you've done, helping me navigate the interesting business world of sport. I'd also like to thank some people in particular, my coach, Julie Wang. I absolutely would not be anywhere in this sport without you. We had some interesting first months where we were figuring each other out, but ultimately, without your technical expertise and your ability to push me as hard as I wanted you to, there's no way I would have accomplished anything beyond what I did up until that point. So thank you very much for being such an amazing coach. I see a lot of familiar faces, so I'm just going to pick you out. To Matt Jordan, I see you standing right in front of me. We grew up speed skating together and became my strength coach, and really appreciate everything you've done, so thank you very much. Okay, I'm just going to go through a short list because it's ridiculous. I'm going to go through all these things. I'll be here all day. To my teammates, of course, thank you all so much for being here. I miss all of you so much. I miss the joking, the fun, the hard work, and many of you are just on the brink of starting your amazing careers, and those are awesome, awesome times. Cherish every moment that you have where you love doing this and you want to be the best, because it's a really special time in your life. I'd also like to say special thanks to my former teammate Claire Hughes, who is actually at the World Cycling Championships right now. She made 8 years training together absolutely one of the most special times in my life. I never found a training partner like her, and we worked really, really well together. I'd like to thank my parents. They're not here, they're in Ottawa. My dad actually called me this morning and asked me if this would be streaming live on the internet. I was like, Dad, no, not that big a deal. But of course, without their support, there's no way I could have accomplished really anything as well. The one awesome thing about my parents is that they dropped me off at the rink and they picked me up, and that was it. They actually had nothing to do with speed skating, so I always knew that I was doing it because I loved it. And I appreciate their sort of support from an arm's length. They didn't really care if I did well or not. They were just happy that I liked skating. To my brother Eric, who's here working on his PhD, I'm sure he's happy to have a break. It's been awesome having you as a brother, and for all your support. Thank you very much. And lastly, to my boyfriend Scott, who is my absolute rock. There's absolutely no way I would have gotten through so many of those days where I was freaking out about absolutely every little thing involved with speed skating. I was going to be good enough or fast enough, or I was fit enough, did I sleep well, are my legs big enough, I'm like, do I look tired? I mean, it's just ridiculous the things that you go through, but I love having you in my life, and I feel incredibly thankful that you were there to support me all these years, so thank you. I read a quote on the internet a few months ago, randomly, searching for something, I don't even know what I was looking for, and as soon as I read it, it struck me as the most precise way to describe how I feel about retiring. And the quote was simply, "From the strain of the doing into the peace of the done." And as soon as I read that, I thought, that's where I am. I've moved into the peace of the done, and it feels incredible to be here. I feel like I have had the most incredible, long, amazing, wonderful career, and I'm so thankful for having the opportunity to pursue it. So thank you all for being here. This is the end of the road for me, and I just wanted to say thanks.